All right, welcome back to the Winning at Weight Loss podcast with your host, Mitch of Calvert Fitness. I just raised my hand and it automatically added it here on Zoom, which technology is crazy nowadays.
Yep.
And I'm pleased to be joined by Rasia, which is a name I had trouble pronouncing previously, a member of CalFit who has lost 20 pounds, but we wanted to kind of share her perspective, having lost a lot of weight with extreme methods in the past and gained it back, and how this approach is maybe a bit more sustainable and fun. And she's really embraced the community. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Appreciate you doing this. What was life like before you started? Like, what were you kind of stuck or struggling with when we first connected?
um, I think it was just the community part. When I really sit and think about it, I had been a part of a group, and I'll leave it unnamed, for almost a year. And it was great. It was community. We focused on, Facebook. We had a Facebook group. It was everything I wanted and more. They were out of country, so that was a bit of a problem. And then some politics within the group happened, and I decided I didn't want that drama. And I left, and I thought, I've got enough of the tools. At that point, I think it was over roughly a year. Yeah, about a year, I'd lost 87 pounds. Totally changed how I looked and inside and out. And I thought, well, I could do it on my own. No, I couldn't. I had joined a couple other coaches, and it didn't feel right. I contemplated actually going back to, I always call it a cult, because that's what it kind of felt like in a way. It was
Yeah.
very stringent. No excuses. You just had to go, 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 go at all costs. And I knew that I wasn't happy there. And I happened on Facebook to come across some of your reels and posts and stuff like that. So then I thought, what do I got to lose? I knew I was on an uphill battle over, I think, 3 years, and I had gained some of the weight back, and I was just miserable. So I made an appointment, talked to Rob, and got hooked up, and just slowly made my way into the group, and just jumped right in actually with the
Yeah.
girls. So
Yeah. The rest is
yeah,
history. You're a big contributor there, which is awesome.
yeah.
Cool. So was there anything that you were skeptical of coming in, like, or were you surprised at how it differed a bit from your past approaches?
Um, I was actually pleased that it wasn't militarian, so to speak. It was like, if you have a bag of chips, like a big bag of chips, no biggie. Just track it, allow for it and move on. Just don't let it drag forever. Yeah. Whereas in the other group that I was in, they would shun you. They would make you
Mm,
feel pretty small, especially with the check-ins. The concept between your fitness group and that other one, it's pretty much the same. They had check-ins, they had weigh-ins, they had pictures, tracking exercises, all that. But this is more, how do I explain? More loving. You're not gonna
healthy.
you're not gonna give me shit for doing something that
Yeah.
you know you, you've
You're
probably been
human.
down that road yourself. Like,
Totally.
food is hard because we have to eat it, yet it's a bad
Hmm.
addiction. And it's finding that balance between eating your face off and eating healthy. So
Yeah, nailed it. 80/20 flexible approach,
yeah,
understanding there's sacrifice to be made, but not in a way that's so militant that you feel like one deviation from the plan and you failed, you know.
exactly.
We're
Yeah,
human. It doesn't work that way.
yeah.
Nice. What was kind of the first small win then when you first got involved that showed, okay, maybe there is a different way to go about this that is more
The first
sustainable
week,
and
first week weigh in.
fun?
It was, I can't even remember what it was, but I knew that I had to compound everything, and just seeing it weekly and having the positive feedback from you, it was like, yeah, I can do this. And I have to remember, I got to slow it down. In my brain, because I had lost such a drastic amount of weight in a short amount of time, I expected big changes and big numbers. But and it's been a process lately that I've had to, okay, slow it down. you know, I may not have lost this week in pounds, but where am I with the inches? And where
Mhm.
am I with clothing? Or, what does my husband think of me? you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and just having, that positive reinforcements and stuff. Yesterday was a pretty big day. And I know I told you and showed
Yeah.
you, I took a picture of the scale because 200 has been a number I've lived with for so long, and to actually get down to 198.2,
Hmm.
not a big difference from 200, but it was in my head. It was like, okay, I
Yeah.
am doing this. My husband was happy. My son was like, whoa, mom, that's pretty cool.
Wonderland, as they call it. Yeah, that's a big
Yes.
benchmark for anyone, right? To get past
Yeah.
that kind of that mental barrier of that 200 number. I feel
Yeah.
that, I'm sure. That's awesome. So I guess, yeah, like you kind of said, weight loss versus fat loss, two different things. We don't want to just chase a number on the scale and lose 40% muscle and lean
Hmm.
mass, bone. So we're all about quality over quantity here. And without the benefit like of a DEXA scan, you
Yeah.
need to see photos, measurements, and not just scale weight in order to
Hmm.
really ensure that's happening. And that's a big part of our approach. So it's a lot easier to just keep it off that way too. I want to kind of dive into your routine because you are a shift worker, and a lot of people put that up as a major limiting factor for why they can't get in shape. And so, how do you make it work with your schedule?
Well, when I first of all, when I did lose the 87-ish pounds or so, I was doing 12-hour shifts, day, night, and I've got about a half an hour drive. So I was doing a lot of walking while I'm at work, obviously. And yeah, just somehow, I don't know how I did it. I did. But now that I'm full time day, night, primarily nights, for example, when I'm doing my nights, I thrive on them. Actually, I get my workouts in better for some reason, probably because I wake up and just do it right away. Yeah, like I'll sleep all day and I'll do my workouts, make my supper, and maybe walk for half an hour depending where I'm at with my steps. And then I go and do my nights. And being the only nurse on nights for a 52-bed care home, you're making a lot of steps. Those
I
folks
best,
need
yeah.
you.
Hmm.
So, it's not high cardio, but I'm moving. And that's what I
Yeah.
was missing before. Was I thought I had to have hit certain zones and of heart rate. But no, like, I mean, some days I'm hitting my steps without even stepping on my elliptical in the wintertime.
Hmm.
Summertime, I will get out more and walk. So,
That's
but
awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
It helps to have an active job, but people, yeah, underrate the value of just walking. It's restorative, but it burns plenty of calories. It does more for our
yeah,
calorie burn than a hard hit workout would, because
yeah.
the time allotted to how much you're
Oh,
moving
for
through
sure.
the day.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
have, a fair bit of distance I have to travel. Like, it's not a huge care home, but, I've got
Hmm.
5 wings that I have residents on. So,
Yeah.
and I just walk, like I'm checking on them or whatever. So yeah, it is possible on shift work. It's just trying to figure out what your routine is. Like,
Yeah.
I get up, work out, then I eat, and then I do a walk or so.
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway, I think, for me is having a set routine for nights versus days.
Yeah.
Ideally, they look similar, but obviously you have to adapt a little bit to the scheduling, right? But once you do,
Yeah.
that means there's no excuses. So that's awesome.
No, and even when I work a day shift, being on 8 hours now and stuff, I get home and I do the same thing. Get home, change, do a workout, and have supper, and then walk for a little bit, and then get ready
Mhm.
to do it all over again the next
Yeah,
day.
love it. Yeah. So maybe the fun part, like what have your actual measurable results been so far since it was late November to now and steady and sustainable? Like what are the numbers? Obviously, you mentioned breaking 200, but
Yeah,
full
that so that
picture.
it's
Yeah.
about 21 pounds since November
Hmm.
17th when I started to yesterday. My BMI has gone from 38 to 35, which I'm getting there. It's a
Yeah.
slow
Yeah.
struggle, but it's
Yeah.
getting there. I got a little fluff I got to lose. And overall, on all the inches that we measure, it's 37 and a half inches I've lost.
Yeah.
When I was at my heaviest at 272 pounds, I was a 3X in uniforms. That's what I use to gauge because
Yeah.
they're not very stretchy. So when I joined you in March or November, I was probably going to be pushing a large. Like, I was squeezing into these
Mhm.
uniforms very uncomfortable. They hurt. I couldn't wait to get them
Mhm.
off. And now I'm comfortable in a medium. Like some are a little tighter than others. So, knowing that I've gotten back to what I was before, which I'm not that far off at my lowest when
Mhm.
my lowest I think was 180, 185. But I could tell on the clothing and stuff. And that to
Yeah,
me is, you don't walk around with a scale in your hand saying, oh, I'm 198 or something like that. It's the clothing. You're in them all the time. And it feels good to have them loose. Like it's just, I keep
that's
throwing
it.
them out. I don't need this
Yes, that's the
big
non-scale victories, right? The
for sure.
NSVs. And yeah, our clothes are always proof in the pudding because 37
Mhm.
inches often would translate to more than 20 pounds of body fat loss. So I'm guessing just based off the math that there's some muscle that's been rebuilt, as you've gotten
Yeah.
into a good routine.
Yeah.
So
I'm
that,
feeling like
mhm,
when I say I touch my arm, I could feel the triceps, I could feel the deltoids and,
mhm.
the abs, well, they'll come. They're always my weak spot. So,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. The areas that we want to lose from the most, it's hard. It's the most to lose from. So it's hard to see the day-to-day change, but the measurements show that it's trending in the right direction and going the right
oh, it
way.
is. Yeah.
How has your life changed outside of obviously the measurable change, like day to day? Where are you seeing the biggest benefit to the process?
Um, I'm not, other than having a cold and being really stuffed up right now,
Yeah.
like endurance wise, I'm able to do a lot more.
Mm,
I When I started initially back in 2021, I had invested in a weighted vest, and I think the vest they maybe weigh 5 pounds. I think I've got 30 pounds extra weight in them, and it doesn't play me out. I do find that if I'm at the lake for the summer, I don't take my vest and I go walking, and I'm like, okay, this was too easy.
mm,
I can, yeah, I found the endurance. I'm not scared to wear shorts. I used to hide behind skirts or
mm,
capris, and now I'm not scared to wear a pair of shorts, even if, they're
mm,
like, just mid thigh and stuff. I'm not scared to wear that. I've got my confidence back, which
mm.
I never had before, and I kind of lost it from high school where I was a competitive volleyball player. Believe it or not, 5'3", you could play competitive
Yeah,
volleyball.
setter.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
I was a jumper, and
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
was,
Yeah, yeah.
I was a
Nice.
power hitter, and yeah, and to have gained all that, I wish I knew now that, or I wish I knew what I know now back then, because I wouldn't have gotten to the stages that I have been.
Mm,
I just didn't realize how active I was, and
yeah.
as much as my husband loves me, he would try to nicely say, "You're getting a little fluffy," and I would just like,
Yeah,
scratch.
yeah. I would hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, just having all that positive reinforcement around me, the support is really good. So,
Yeah, maybe speak on that briefly, right? Because it's one thing to have the accountability of a coach in your ear, and when you miss something, I see it, and you don't miss much, but you just have that extra layer of support. But talk about the community, the peer-to-peer guidance, and that piece I think is pretty critical as well.
like within the community, the group.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the group chat and the calls.
Yeah, like I posted yesterday in the girls group that I broke 200. I'm in the 190s, and they're all cheering me along and stuff. And even with the challenges, we've got a, foursome group right now, and we're always like, we may not say a heck of a lot, but we're always hitting the confetti and the high fives and the thumbs up and stuff. You know, you I can't not really say I've had a bad time that I was going through where it affected my working out or my food, and but I know that if I was struggling, that they would be there for me. It's crazy how I've never met some of these people, and
Yeah.
how supportive. It's like, they've known me for a while. Maybe they'll change in June in Gimli.
Yeah, we were getting the whole group. Yeah, we always do a retreat in the springtime, and there is the
Mhm.
small group workouts, but you got a long commute for that. But yeah, Gimli
Yeah.
should be the next target, which is great. I'm excited to see you there too. It should be a fun day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, just as a final comment, I guess we usually end this with what would you say to someone that's on the fence, skeptical, maybe they've tried things in the past that didn't work. What might make this
Um,
different? You know?
what I find is that just invest in yourself, whether it's learning macros, learning nutrition, learning workouts, investing financially into a coach. That's, I have to admit that was the scariest part for me in the beginning. It's like, how can I make this financially work for me? But when I think about it, I don't pay for a gym membership. I've invested in my own weights and a couple other
Hmm.
gadgets at home. Um, when you're weighing and measuring your food, that you're actually saving money. Like you're
Oh, yeah.
not buying crap and extra fruit and vegetables. You kind of buy what you know you need along the way. But because I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a nurse, I'm a friend, I've got so many roles. I figured, like 5 years ago, if I didn't do something for me, then I'm no good to anybody else. So I think
Mhm.
that's part of where some women maybe feel that, maybe even guys too, you're multi-role, that who's going to take care of me if not me? And
Mhm.
it may look selfish to somebody else, but it's been the best thing ever. Like my husband, when I first started on this weight loss journey 5 6 years ago, 5 years ago, he was like not sure about it. But then when he seen everything happen, like he'll still say to me, wow, you're eating a lot. And I'm like, yeah, but it's good shit. Like I
Yeah.
look at his plate and I'm like,
Mm.
damn, that's full of carbs, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, we kind of
Mm.
joke around there, but just everybody is important. Just put yourself first for once. And even if it's for this or whatever, it's so worth it. If you're walking around with a pile of insecurities of weight and how self-image and stuff, the money, it's worth it. Totally worth it. Like,
Yeah, that's a good takeaway. I mean, it's overplayed cliche, but the oxygen mask analogy, right? They always tell you put your mask on first before you help others. And
yeah.
it's hard to be even for myself, I don't have the same demands that a mom has, don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
I'm just way more patient with my kids, just more energy to,
Yes.
spend time with them and be fully pleasant and present,
Yeah.
both pleasant and present. And if
Yeah.
I didn't take care of myself, I know that, I'd just be more edgy and not the
Yeah.
best for me, right? So I totally get it from your perspective
Yeah.
too.
I knew that if I didn't do something 5 years ago, like I was really close to 300 pounds at 5'3", I knew
Mhm.
I was going to be probably confined to oxygen or confined to a wheelchair, or I wouldn't be able to live life. And I want to be able to retire in 4 years and enjoy life, like get out there and do stuff.
Mhm.
I snowmobile, we cross country ski. I have a wave runner, also known as a Sea-Doo, but it's the Yamaha version.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to. I don't want to act my age. I don't want to get old, so that's why
No
I'm
reason
doing what
for
I'm
it.
doing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's it. We don't always weigh the cost. I talked about the Dickens method from Tony Robbins, so I'll be sharing more on that. But we always
Mhm.
weigh, oh, what if this doesn't work out? But what if we don't do anything? We continue, and often it gets worse. We don't just
Yes.
stay the same. Like you foresaw, like 300 pounds with the oxygen mask and just the
Mhm.
quality of life diminished. You wanted an alternate path. So you took action, you invested in yourself, and that'll pay off for decades. That's the ROI, the return on
That
investment.
that's exactly it. Yeah. Like I've got, a 22-year-old son. I've got two great nephews that I want to be that cool mom and that cool great auntie for them when they get old. Like
Mm.
I want to fight it as fast as, or as much as I can. I don't want to just, oh well, I'm 51, going to be 52. Let's just let
Mm.
nature take its course. Hell no. Like
Mm.
I'm trying to reverse my age in a way, if it makes
Yeah, and you
sense.
have to do more at this point, right? You get away with
Yeah.
less. It's reality. But
Yeah.
the more science comes out, the more they show, that your lifestyle does control a lot more of the aging process than we give it credit
Yeah.
for. You can really slow it down.
One other thing I also wanted to mention was about, women going through menopause. There's always that, there's studies out there that say that, um, you know, people say that you can't lose weight with menopause, going through menopause. I was in the full blunt of it 5 years ago when I was going or starting my weight loss, and I call bullshit on
Yeah,
people
you prove
saying,
that.
"Oh, menopause, your metabolism slows down. You can't lose the weight." I did it, 86,
Hmm.
87 pounds in a year, and I was going, like, I hadn't hit menopause yet. It was more the Perry. So that's
Oh,
another thing, for other women out there, that if you're my age or younger and going through that, you can do it. Like the people saying that your metabolism slows down. No, it's this that slows down because you don't
mm,
want to put the work in. Is
yeah.
it easy? No, it's not, but it's so worth it and it becomes second nature.
Yeah, it still boils down to the boring basics, and people neglect that as they get older and blame the metabolism when they've stopped
Yeah.
moving like they used to, maybe drinking more wine, not sleeping as well. I've completely abandoned exercise. So yeah, if you get back into the good habits, maybe you need
Mhm.
HRT in some cases. That's beyond my scope, but
Yeah.
certainly speaking, we have more control over it than we realize, and you're proof in the pudding. So
Yeah, it's attainable for sure. So
yeah, exactly. Well, keep up the good work. We appreciate you jumping on the call today, and we'll see
yeah,
you in the support group. Thanks again.
that's awesome. Okay, thanks, Mitch.